Hey, what's up, everyone out there in the OP squad? I'm hoping that you all are having an amazing day. You already know what it is. It's the one and only Lyriq page, aka Mr. Way Too OP, Real OG. Yes, you see it down there on screen, baby. You know how we rock. For all of the people that are new checking out the channel, viewing the content for the first time, I hope you really enjoy the vibe and see how we rock. If you do, like, comment, share, subscribe, and smack that notification bell like cheeks on your girl. What are we waiting on?
What are you waiting for, huh? What are you waiting for?
Today we're going to talk about Outriders, one of the highly exclusive games for 2021. This game is going to define the genre for looter shooters, and I believe it may even be bigger than Borderlands because this game is going to do things that no other company has dared to try. I believe they're going to accomplish something that's going to be amazing. The fact that you can mod, you can actually do things with your guns, like take off a mod from a legendary and add it and apply it to another legendary. That will be official, and the only way I can literally show this content and literally talk about it and make you understand what I am feeling when I say this game is amazing, you actually have to see the footage yourself. And we're going to talk about every single thing we see in this video, and then we're going to do a little more research on the game as much as we can, and then we're going to make more videos about it, giving you more information. So you're going to come and talk to me whenever you want to talk Outriders. And before we do that, I brought a new intro for you all to enjoy specifically for Outriders, and I made it especially for you, the OP squad. All right, we're gonna hurry up and jump into this reaction. Let's see what they talking about, baby. Let's go. Oh, broke that arm. Oh, rocket launcher, that looks nice. That's good. See, right there, that is something that I'm into right there. That is amazing. The abilities look amazing. I like this a lot. I already have a plan of what I actually want to play as, and I just feel as though I'm going to make one of the most OP builds in the world. Trust me, I've been waiting for a real tactical looter shooter, and this plays just like Gears, man. Like, how
Well,
can you do
hello
that?
there. My name is Lucy, and this is episode 4 of the Outriders broadcast. If you've been following these shows over the past few months, you'll know that there's a lot to talk about when it comes to Outriders. With all of the features and systems under the hood of the game, we never really struggle for content when it comes to making these shows. However, we can say that Broadcast 4 is a particularly big one, so buckle up.
Today, we have a Technomancer class spotlight,
Ooh.
a brand new chunk of gameplay to showcase Expeditions, our post-campaign content,
That is cool.
a first
Good
look at Hell's Rangers.
And of course, we cannot end the show without our regular Q&A segments. Whew, okay, take a breather. That's a lot to get through. So, we're going to kick things off. In the last broadcast, we unveiled the Technomancer for the first time. Go and check out the Become
So it's
Terror
like a
trailer
sniper
if you
support
missed
class.
it. But we only really showed you a glimpse of what the class is capable of. Today, we are going
Boring.
down the rabbit hole
that.
and detailing exactly what you can expect if you choose the tech conjuring powerhouse that is the Technomancer.
Okay,
See you
let's
back
do it.
here in a few.
Man, that looks so cool. Look at that gun.
Greetings, Outriders. Welcome back to our Spotlight series, where we deep dive on an individual aspect of the game. Today, we scope out our fourth and final class, the Technomancer.
Pyromancer,
Enoch's
Trickster,
anomaly
Devastator.
storms
You
might
already
have
know I'm a
fried
trickster.
tech for everyone else,
I might
but
switch
they
it up to
unleashed
that
abilities for the
Devastator.
Technomancer to
I like
infuse
that.
powers into weaponry at their will. Thus, this class can exploit technology to the most brutal capacity.
I have become terror. The unseen predator. A rupture that obliterates without warning.
Nasty.
Who is this class for?
That gun is amazing.
Technomancers will appeal to a huge spread of players, simply thanks to their enormous versatility. However, the Technomancer's skill set will be utilized best by players who pay special attention to the flow of combat, beyond just raw damage.
Trickster and
The status
Pyromancer
effects that
are
Technomancers
probably
can
gonna be my
inflict,
main
as
two
well
that
as
I
their
really
boss
like.
skill
But I
interrupts
think
and
I
their
might like
unique
this
ability to
Technomancer
heal squad
a lot.
mates mean that they are suited to fill in support roles. That's not to say Technomancers can't bring the pain. Packing an arsenal of weaponry and their summoning abilities, combined with a strong focus on sniper rifles, mean that they are the ideal class for
Long-range
any
combat.
players
Oh my
intended
goodness.
to lone wolf their way through Enoch. Fundamentals. Technomancers focus their powers around summoning and indirect sources of damage and effects. Spearheading this playstyle are 3 core tenets: Ordnance, Gadgets, and Decay. Their unique melee power
All right, so I want to stop right here. One thing that I noticed about this Technomancer, if you played any RPGs or just MMOs in general, if they had a Necromancer, that costume that they're showing right now, it basically has that entire vibe. And what I mean by a Necromancer, somebody who can actually conjure up spirits and, they bring back the dead. And 9 times out of 10 in some type of MMO, they usually would have like a group heal where it would basically just pick up everyone around you, because obviously necromancy is basically reviving dead and stuff like that. So that's a cool attribute to have for a Technomancer. And obviously they're not going to let you revive like that unless they do have something that we don't know yet. Future might hold that, but in general they have this ability to heal, and they're only class that actually heals, which you can actually play a support, you can play offense, defense, and then on top of that you can actually heal your squad mates. It's only 3 of you. It's not a 4-person game, so you're definitely going to want to have a person that's going to play a Technomancer in your party. That's just something to keep in mind, but we're going to keep it going.
the freeze status effect onto those hit by it.
That's cool.
Freeze stops an enemy in its tracks,
So that's
allowing you and your squad mates
Technomancers
to focus fire on
mainly.
them.
Okay, that's cool. Very cool for up close combat.
Healing.
If you need it.
As we've mentioned in the other class spotlights, the main way to regain health is not via potions or spells, but by playing aggressively.
Right.
In the
Like that.
Technomancer's case, they recover a
Good job.
portion of the damage
Definitely
they
good
deal
job.
to enemies as health.
Wow,
They're a
that's
true
cool. It's like
vampire
a
leech.
It's funny.
However, the Technomancer's class passives also increase their damage outputs for both long-range weapons
Oh,
and
wow.
anomaly power, making sure that the Technomancer's healing passive stays on par with the other classes.
Very, very more in
Powers.
depth than
Each
Borderlands.
Outriders class has 8 powers in total. You'll start with a single power and will unlock more as you level up. Let's check out 5 of the abilities Technomancer has in their collection. Power 1, Tool of Destruction. Question: do you prefer to riddle your enemies with bullets or turn them into a puff of red
Ooh.
smoke?
That was nasty.
Well, why not both?
Like it.
With Tool of Destruction, you can change your preference whenever you
Okay.
want to.
Let's go back a little bit. Hold on 1 second. Right
Why
there.
not both?
I'm gonna show you
With
something.
Tool of Destruction,
If you look on the left side of the screen, you'll see that little red circle, and I believe that is a blast radius circle. Most games, when you play games like looter shooters and stuff like that, they just don't want you to see that because they want you to most likely die, so the content would seem harder. The fact that they're actually giving us the blast radius of whatever that enemy is about to do in that range is very, very good for us as players, because you want to make sure that the game is challenging, but you also want to give the player a chance to do other things. So now you know not to step in that area. Now that area could be something where it's damage over time, so that, for instance, they'll throw fire into that area and it's going to stay there for a certain amount of time. And the map may get filled up like that all around. We don't know. Or it could just be a damage ability. So if you get to that point, you get hit by it and that's it. The area is gone. It could be either way, but I like both ways. And I feel as though this game, when it comes to Outriders, I believe that they're going to mix it up a lot. But I'm just happy that they're actually giving us the indicators and letting us actually see that, because that's very, very important when you're in the middle of a battle to actually pay attention to the field. You really want to pay attention to the battlefield. It's important.
Destruction, you can change your preference whenever you want to.
That's cool.
See, Tool of Destruction works a little differently to other skills in Outriders, in that it has alternate modes.
Big
Activating
damage.
the skill via button press equips your Technomancer with a rocket launcher,
Ooh.
but activating the skill by
Oh,
holding
they're
down the
making me
button
change
will
that.
instead
I might wanna
equip a
play as
minigun.
Technomancer.
However, the rocket launcher has the added bonus of interrupting enemies it damages.
Oh, that's
Let's watch that
nice.
clip again. That orange bar means an enemy is charging up a skill,
Okay, that's cool. They tell you. And
but
you
the
stop
RPG
it.
interrupts them, preventing them from casting
Wow.
it. Which, particularly when going toe-to-toe with bosses and captains, can mean the difference between victory
Death.
and a team wipeout.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Power 2, Fixing Wave. For those of you who prefer to play as support or healer to your mates, first of all, you're awesome, the world needs more of you.
That's a fact.
Secondly, Fixing Wave may just be your
Babe, she
skill
always
of
plays a
choice.
support class, so I know she's
Fixing
gonna
Wave
run
is a
this
skill
class,
design
no matter what.
exclusive to the Technomancer, and is the only power in Outriders that can restore health back to yourself, your constructs, and your allies,
Wow, you can heal
regardless
your
of
constructs?
distance.
You can heal your
Power
sentries.
3, Pain
That's
Launcher.
cool.
This is one of a number
That's
of the
amazing.
Technomancer's construct skills, and will create an automated defense device to damage enemies independently.
Wow.
Conjuring a missile launcher, this will engage in artillery-esque carpet bombing
Okay, so that
to
has
not
a
only damage
wide
enemies,
area.
but interrupt them as well. Bear in mind this gadget has a slight setup
Seen
delay,
a harvest,
so you'll need to
so
tactically
obviously
time
they're
it
gonna have
well. But
resources.
if you pull it off, you can
I'll tie that
expect
to
to
the
create
bottom.
some awesome combinations with Pain Launcher. Power 4, Blighted Turret. More of a relentless, continuous damage type of person. Q Blighted Turret, a skill that places, yeah, you guessed it, an automated turret. But not only does this weaponry pour lead into your foes, it also inflicts the status condition Toxic. This deals damage over time and can be used to whittle down their health with hit and run tactics. You could use your turrets offensively through strategic placements to bolster your damage output, such as by flanking enemies.
Wow, that's nice.
Alternatively, you could drop a turret while falling back to a better position, and it will keep your enemies occupied while you get ready to form your next plan of attack.
Yeah, that's really cool. It basically
Power
attracts
5,
the enemies.
Cold Snap. Cold Snap is
Like
a
a
large
decoy.
area
It's
of
nice.
effect skill
It
that
just
will
shoots.
freeze all enemies in place. In an offensive
Beautiful,
scenario,
babe.
you can use
Beautiful.
Cold Snap to wreak havoc with your other skills or regular weapons, especially if you manage to catch enemies when they're clumped together. Defensively, Cold Snap will help you prevent melee attackers from swarming you and getting
Right.
too close. This is particularly useful for players who prefer sniper rifles and
Ooh,
long-range
headshot.
combat.
Headshot, let's go.
And bear in mind, the
Oh, that's
Technomancer will
nice.
feature 3 more powers on top of these first 5. Endless opportunities for computer-based carnage.
Boom. It's like a bomb, a proximity bomb.
Power combos.
Okay.
The wide range of powers in Outriders gives so much scope for mixing and matching different combinations. Let's check out one example.
I agree. There's a lot
So,
of
say
variety.
you're a lone wolf
Versatility
Technomancer
is
being
key.
chased by a group of Poforo. Using Cold Snap will freeze the enemies in place, buying
Take
you time to
aggro,
retreat and throw
get
a
an
blighted
opportunity to
turret
get out
in
of
their
there.
midst.
I'm gonna tear it down
While
and
they're
light 'em up.
distracted and getting toxified, initiate Tool of Destruction
That
to
is
conjure
cool.
a minigun and mow down any
Take 'em all
stragglers.
down. That is nice.
Alter your Technomancer. Each class has a tree of class
What?
point nodes that you can activate to alter the
Hold
way your
on.
build and skills work. Class points are acquired by leveling up. You can't fill out the class tree entirely, but you
Okay.
will be able to respec your
Yeah, that'd be
nodes
too
to
OP.
mix up your playstyle. And there are no costs or penalties. Respec your tree at
Oh,
any
okay.
time.
You can respect anytime. I
The
like
3
that.
branches for the
Even on
Technomancer
Borderlands, they
are
actually
as
make you
follows:
pay
Pestilence,
for it a lot. and that's
Tech
kinda
Shaman,
annoying.
and Demolisher, with each branch providing both major and minor passives that affect your character's type of damage focus and survivability.
This is nice.
The Pestilence branch flows best with your decay skills and weapons. It's all about increasing the damage you do with guns and provides great bonuses, particularly to sniper rifles or assault rifles. The Tech Shaman is more focused around indirect damage and will
Pestilence
boost your
looks like it's
turrets,
gonna be something good to
freeze
actually
effects,
do.
and healing. Notably, the overclocked passive node here will increase your damage significantly whenever you activate gadget skills, but it will also grant you a second chance.
Oh wow. So he would have died. He
The
or she would have
Demolisher
died.
path
then
will synergize with
that
the
gave you
greatest
second life,
amount of
basically.
your skills.
I like that.
A note here will mean that
Some
using your
different
ordnance or
50%
gadget
health.
skills will impart a host of bonuses and buffs to you, as well as boost your toxic effect damage. Notably, this path also has a node, which will inflict toxic on all enemies that you freeze with your melee attack.
Wow. So now you have two different elements. That's cool.
As well as this, the
Toxic damage
equipment you
and
use
freeze.
might also influence the
The
way
gear
your skills
has
work.
armor.
The equipment
This
passives
is
might
gonna be
reduce the
nice.
cooldown or duration of a skill, or they
This
might
bonus.
alter it on a more fundamental
Wait a second.
level.
Wait a second. Do we see 3-piece bonus? So is this gear sets? I'm not gonna say it is, but I mean, it's right there. Do we have to really even talk about it? What are we doing here? Like, that's crazy. The Grim Inventor's mask. I really do like that mask. It's really cool. It's like a gas mask infused with like some type of granite or emerald. I would say like it looks nice. It looks like it's corroded, but it also looks like a person had it for so long because they basically infused themselves with it. Like that's cool. I just really like it a lot. It definitely reminds me of an
And there
Technomancer.
we have it, an introduction to the Outriders tech whiz, but probably not the one you'd want to help set up Grandma's new phone. This was our fourth and final class, but do check out the other spotlights on Trickster, Pyromancer, and Devastator if you
All right,
haven't.
so I wanted to show the Technomancer because I feel as though the Technomancer was probably going to be the highest support class you could possibly get in any looter shooter, just because I've played games like Borderlands and I know what I'm talking about when it comes down to actually feeling like I'm going to really support. In those games, you don't feel like you're really supporting. All of those characters are 100% OP because they don't give you anything that really sets them apart. 9 times out of the 10, people are using Flak because they knew he had crit hit damage. So you walk in there and pow, 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 everybody's dead. The same thing when it comes down to Amara. She has her abilities where she walks up to you and melees you to death. Pow, 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 everybody's dead. You don't really feel as though any of the characters are significantly different from the other, except their true abilities, which is, Zane having his little bot and decoy. Other than that, you don't really see anything different. On here, you feel it. You can definitely feel it just by looking at the gameplay footage. It's totally different. You don't have the same type of quality of game style. You don't want to play as a trickster and then turn around and say, oh, I'm going to go play the other class, and don't feel as though this class is going to benefit you because you don't feel like it matters. You want it to matter. And I believe when you play as a trickster, you're going to feel like you're a trickster. When you're playing as a Technomancer, you're going to feel like a Technomancer. Vice versa. It's the same way. No matter which class you pick, you're going to feel distinctively different. And I like that. That's what we need in games. Paying attention to the battlefield is key. When you see a low enemy over there and you're a Devastator, impale him. Do what you have to do. That's important. Play aggressive. If you want to play a passive role, you do that. But you may not get as far as you may think you're going to get. And I like that. It's a different style of play. It's Outriders. It's more gritty, more gory, and it's kind of like playing Gears. We're going to keep going because I want to show you this expedition.
Already. So that you don't miss any upcoming videos, make sure you subscribe and have notifications turned on. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.
New gameplay.
Thanks, Lucy, and hello, lovely people. Okay, so you just spent the last 40 hours finishing the epic story campaign.
look at that
build a
gun in
badass
white.
character, and
A
you're
little
pretty
veil in the middle. That
confident
was
that
nice.
you can handle everything this wicked
Flex,
world throws
big
at you.
flex.
But you're also aware that Outriders is a complete experience,
armor on
straight
left.
out of the
Ooh.
box, and
Yeah,
doesn't
armor on
have
left
any
is
live
cool.
service elements. So, now what? Fear not, Outriders. We got you. Your job on Enoch is far from over. We don't want to go
wonder
into
if
any
they're gonna
story
have a hub
spoilers,
so
but for
players can
reasons
actually
that
be
will
around each
become
other.
clear, mysterious points of
be cool if they
interest
do.
have appeared across Enoch.
So you can show off
New
gear and stuff
mysteries
like
and
that.
stories are all waiting to be discovered. Precious resources, allowing for even more powerful gear. This is the place where advanced players really get to test their skills. It's a vicious but highly addictive post-campaign mode we call Expeditions. Check it out.
Nice.
This is how it works. After finishing the main storyline, you'll find yourself in a new camp. Among some other additions, you will notice a new station, with a map showing many new areas for you to explore. Oh, and yes, It's pretty important to point out that you won't play any recycled content from the main campaign. Expeditions are big, handcrafted new levels with their own mechanics, challenges, and storyline.
Nice.
Before
Take
you start
time to
an
make those
expedition,
maps like that,
you will
man. Give
notice
them
the
credit
introduction
for it.
of challenge tiers. It's pretty straightforward. The faster you are able to clear a mission, the richer the rewards. One important thing has changed though. You won't get any direct loot from your enemies. Instead, you'll receive all your rewards at the end of an expedition.
All right, so we're going to talk about that for a second. A lot of people would be frustrated if this was another game, and they would most likely get aggravated because they're like, oh, I want to get loot for each enemy. Number one, you don't always want that for every single game. This game specifically, you don't want it, because if it's only 3 players and the max is 3 players, 3 people on one team, you don't want to get matched up with a person who sees loot on the ground after killing one of the, let's say a mini boss, if they have mini bosses, which they probably do, because you see a lot of elites and then you see bigger bosses, but they're not the main boss of that expedition, if you want to say. You don't want a person to come into that match and take the loot after killing the mini boss and leave. Now you're stuck trying to matchmake, or you're stuck trying to 2-man it, or if all else fails, some people actually leave and you're by yourself. Now that's worst case scenario. You have nobody to play with. And if you're going to solo an expedition, you're better off going in there from the beginning soloing it, so you know what to expect. Now you basically have to solo it on your own, and these people just took the loot and just left. You don't want that. So it's best to get it at the end. So therefore, the reward was definitely worth the risk. That's how I feel about it. It's very important to have it like this. I love that. Good job.
If you manage to complete it. Don't worry though. We won't leave you completely empty-handed, even if you fail all your attempts. In this example,
So
you can
every
score a
3
good chunk
attempts.
of epic and rare loot, plus 3 new tiers. That's because we picked the highest at this moment available tier. You can always go lower to one of the previous unlocked tiers if you feel your strategy or build isn't quite ready yet.
Oh,
To be more precise, your newly earned tiers are needed for 2 things. First, tiers progression unlocks new locations for your team to discover. Unlocking all 15 of them will grant you access to the final expedition, the Eye of the Storm. Second, and similar to our world tier system, selected challenge tiers also determine the difficulty of a mission. Here's the kicker. When we release Outriders, your maximum character level is 30.
Okay.
But your weapons and gear can reach up to level 50 in expeditions.
Wow. Ooh, look at that.
Choosing a challenge tier level will show you the expected enemy level,
realistic.
which is also the same
gonna be
level
nice
range
on
of
the
the loot you
Series
will
X,
receive
baby.
at the end of the mission. So before you head into an expedition, make sure to adjust your strategy and equipment accordingly.
Keep showing this gun. I love it.
There's no other way to go about this.
Looks like a
Expeditions are tough. No, wait, let me rephrase that. Expeditions are brutal, but
Brutal.
for good reason.
Yeah, talk about
This
it.
content is intended for battle-hardened Outriders who really want to get
OP
creative
squad.
with the nitty and gritty details of specialized
Sus.
character builds.
We're gonna do this
Feeling like a well-tuned demigod? Then this is the place for you.
Yeah.
But you might want to bring some demigod co-op friends along as well. You'll need them. No matter how strong and well-trained you think
Oh, that
you
looks
are
nice.
when you head into
Shotgun.
expeditions for the first time,
Right, sure.
you will need to become much more if you want to even reach the ultimate
Look
challenge.
at that. That's
Stoked
amazing.
yet?
It's beautiful.
Good. Before we dive more into expeditions though, we must first touch on another exciting subject that is heavily linked to this game mode. It's one of the most compelling and important core features of Outriders. Modding, crafting, and everything in between.
Come on,
Upgrading
talk
and
about it.
modifying your gear is an integral part of Outriders and gives you unparalleled freedom to
Looks like a big
strive for that
4-4 man.
perfect build. Dedicated players can experiment with a myriad of combinations to maximize and adapt their effectiveness for any given challenge. Let's talk about mods first. Mods are passive skills that can significantly alter the way your weapons, armor, or abilities work. For instance, they can add effects to your gunplay irrespective of your class, sticking your enemy with a nasty status effect like freeze, bleed, weaken, toxic, and many more. With rare and specialized
more?
mods equipped, you can even get a taste of the powers of a whole different class.
Oh.
For example, Golem's Limp is a legendary
Wow.
shotgun. It will grant its wielder the Devastator's Golem skin for Crusade.
Wait a second. Do you all see what I see? This gun is basically defying gravity within the state that it's in. Like, you can see the rubble from the weapon just floating. Literally, it's floating. and it's around the weapon to the point where you see the little pieces going around the gun as it's floating there. You cannot tell me that that is not cool. You cannot tell me that a gun that you see on Destiny would be better than that, because the aesthetic of a gun is great. It's pleasing to the eyes, but when you actually see reactive elements in a weapon, that is amazing. And I love that type of gameplay. I love to be able to play the game, have fun, get a couple kills, do what I got to do, get my loot, but I also want to feel powerful when I have this weapon in my hand. I want to feel like, yo, if I was actually in this game, I want to feel as though this power could be felt. And I feel as though Golem's Limb, the aesthetic of that gun and the reactiveness of it, it's just, yes, reactiveness. It's just, I don't even want to talk about it. It's mind-blowing. I'm done talking.
Seconds after every killing shot. In this case, helping out a pyromancer.
Wow.
Or maybe you get lucky and find this little gem, which takes a page from the Trickster's book about bending time and space. This mod will hit your opponent with a slow effect, like the Trickster's melee attack. But here we see a Technomancer making use of it. So broadly speaking, we're looking at two types of mods. General mods, as just described, can be applied to boost or alter how your weapons and armor work. But we also have skill mods, which are class specific. Those bad boys can amplify and change any of your 8 anomaly-infused powers per class, and can only be applied to armor. Like giving a Trickster a second temporal slice. Or how about increasing the damage radius and ammo of your Technomancer's rocket launcher? By equipping the Spike Force mod, a Devastator is able to stick his worries on much more than just one skewer. All our mods are segmented into 3 tiers, and you're able to collect them by dismantling the found gear that holds them. The rarity of a piece will determine what mod tier and amount of mods it might spawn with, except for our legendary gear, which has dedicated mods that can only be found on these specific items. These would be the mods in the tier 3 category, for instance. So far, so good. Now here's a really cool
types of tiers.
Once collected, you can apply and mix match your mods however you want. Let's say you went through hell and back on a challenge, got lucky and walked away with the legendary assault rifle Absolute Zero. Yes, it absolutely wreaks havoc, and freezing bullets are awesome. But you know what's even more awesome? Exactly, frozen enemies that get struck by lightning. So let's get to it. Luckily, I found a legendary weapon called Thunderbird earlier in the game. And with my much higher level now, I decided to dismantle it and go for the mods. Quick piece of intel though. If a weapon already has 2 mods slotted, you can only change one of those 2 mods. Now let's select the Ultimate Stormwhip mod, the one we scored earlier from the Thunderbird, and the slot on the weapon with the mod we want to replace. Now all we have to do in order to get this new dream weapon build is to spend a little of our resources. In this case, 396 iron. Beautiful. And this is just one little example how you can alter and upgrade every single piece of gear in Outriders.
That's cool. You can place
so what else can we do on this crafting table? Improve rarity lets us improve the primary parameters of every item that isn't epic or legendary.
Can improve the
rarity. Firepower for weapons and armor for your wearables. By the way, hovering over the crafting options will reveal a color code explaining what rarity is needed for each craft. Here we look at unusual, rare, epic, and legendary. Next up, swap variant. Here you can alter how your weapon fires and behaves in the field. Each weapon offers different variants depending on the type of weapon. You can unlock even more variants as your character level progresses. And last but not least, level up. Which is pretty much as straightforward as it sounds. Similar to improve rarity, raising a level of your equipment will boost firepower or armor. I think it's pretty obvious now. If you're really into tinkering with your equipment, Outriders will give you a lot of creative freedom to do just that. With about 350 individual mods across weapons, armor and skills, players have a lot of possibilities to experiment and home in on that perfect build. Also keep in mind, everything we just saw in the crafting department is directly linked to this. Fine-tuning your skills and equipment in conjunction with the skill tree. A skill tree that you can respec at any time without any cost. And this is where things really get interesting. Makes you wonder how deep this rabbit hole goes, doesn't it? Expeditions will challenge you and your team not only on a skill level, but also on how well your builds are tuned and in sync with another.
That's cool.
That's why going deep into customization aspects of Outriders is not only super fun, but also vastly improves your lifespan on Enoch in general. Tune and optimize your skill tree for the challenge ahead, and find effective ways to complement the available powers from your Outriders squad mates. Especially when you want to take on higher world tiers in a story campaign, for instance. Okay, we covered crafting and upgrading your gear. Let's talk a little bit more about expeditions. As I said in the beginning, all of our expeditions are big, bespoke new levels in the game. And we have 14 of them ready for you to conquer when we ship on February 2nd, 2021. Of course, we want to leave the excitement and fun of exploring these new areas for you.
Have legs.
We can't wait for you and your friends to face Enoch's ultimate challenges.
Can't wait either, baby.
I hope you liked what you
I
saw,
can't
and
wait
as
either.
always, stay safe out there and take care of each other. Sven out.
Alright, that was Outriders gameplay footage. Also talking about the Technomancer, and they were speaking about the expeditions. I really, really hope that you enjoyed this video. I'm going to have way more videos when I actually start researching the game a lot more. With all of the content that they have shown, all of the footage, I want to make sure that I get that out to you as soon as I possibly can. So I'm going to do a lot more research, and I'm going to get into that, and I'm going to make sure that I send it out to you all as soon as I possibly can. I'm not going to wait. I'm going to put as much time as I can into finding out everything there is to know about Outriders info. I really believe this game will be the most ultimate looter shooter to date, and I feel as though this game is going to change the genre forever. So, with that being said, I love you all. Welcome to the OP Squad for those who are new. And if you are new, like, comment, share, subscribe, and smack that notification bell like cheeks on your girl. You already know what it is. It's the one and only Lyriq Page, a.k.a. Mr. Way Too OP Real OG. And we out of here.